Welcome back to the world of adventure sports. Here in Colorado Springs for a race and a race course like no other. Nearly 200 drivers have made the pilgrimage to tackle one of motorsport's toughest tests. It's the 89th running of the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb, where it's all about getting to the top as fast as you can. This year, world-renowned driver Reese Millen set his sights on breaking the 10-minute barrier in the unlimited division. When we heard that, we knew we had to come along for the ride. America's Mountain, named after explorer Zebulon Pike and home to the historic Pikes Peak International Hill Climb. Known as the Race to the Clouds, this classic event is among the most unique, challenging, and picturesque motor races in the world.
Pikes Peak is one of the toughest challenges in motorsport. 156 corners over 12.42 miles. And our car, 220 gear changes. Surface changes is from pavement to dirt to back to pavement. Altitude changes of 5,000 feet.
I think Pikes Peak fits in that category that it's one of the classic motorsport events around the world. It's unique, it's different. There's only one of it, whether it be Le Mans or Monaco or Pikes Peak or Indianapolis.
This Pikes Peak is a great event because of one of the best beautiful event, also the very tough event for car and for drivers. So this is my life.
You know, to race the road is part of the experience of Pikes Peak. To see it in its natural setting at this elevation of 14,110 feet, it really makes it one of the most beautiful race courses in the world.
For 89 years, images from Pikes Peak have shown race cars sliding amid clouds of dust. But after this year, those images would be no more. A lawsuit forcing the state of Colorado to pave the entire road to the summit, changing the complexion of this race forever.
Right now, there's 2.8 miles of dirt. We've heard talks of them getting it done right after the race.
This year is going to turn a chapter in the event. I think that the cars that we have seen over the last 89 years competing up here will be different when we're all asphalt. I think you'll see a lot of rally cars or Formula 2000 cars. I think in motorcycles you'll see road racing bikes.
A little bit disappointed because I like gravel. I like rallying. On asphalt is must be clean line, and gravel is a little bit more sideways and more fun,
Sad to see the dirt go. You know, the dirt side of it, the spectacle of all the dust, the cars sliding, the drivers fighting for control and all that.
In 1994, on what was then an all-dirt course, Rod Millen set the fastest Pikes Peak ascent time at 10 minutes and 4 seconds. By 2007, with the hill more than half asphalt, Monster Tajima lowered the record to 10 minutes and 1 second. 13 years and 6 miles of pavement, shaving a mere 3 seconds off Millen's spectacular record.
Up until 2002, the road was an all dirt road. There's been changes of asphalt added 1 mile roughly per year. Now typically, more speed, you're going to go faster. Well, the road has actually changed shape. In a lot of places it's narrower, which means you have to go slower through those sections. So the challenges are still there, even more so in some situations because you have to balance the car's handling and also the tire that you're going to use for dirt and then transferring back to pavement.
As the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb prepared to say its last farewell to dirt road racing, this year's end of an era running would draw a record number of entrants. 70 cars, 120 bikes, and thousands of fans turned out for this grassroots event just west of Colorado Springs. More up ahead from the 2011 edition of this storied motor race when the world of adventure sports continues. The Pikes Peak International Hill Climb is held on a public toll road, closed only one day a year for this classic race. And with practice time hard to come by, Reese Millen Racing adopted a bold technique for gaining more track data, adding an iconic second car to the roster.
You know, this year is pretty special to have my father, effectively semi-retired from motorsport some 11 years ago, to come back here and drive for my team.
I perhaps wouldn't have come back myself if it wasn't for Reese, you know, competing and trying to get the record back in the Millen family. My kid put together a car for me to drive. I just think that's fantastic.
Rod, for many years, actually 15 years, held the record up here until a couple years ago when Tajima broke it. But Rod competed back here in the 80s. I can remember Reese as a little kid kind of hanging on to his coattails. And it's amazing to see how that family's grown up over the years and the history that they have here on Pikes Peak.
The top section, the old man, Rodney, is crushing it. For him to join the team is kind of two goals in mind. Number one, it was to take back a record that I set 2 years ago off Porsche. Secondly, it's putting my father on the road before me with a similar tire to give me feedback. You're not allowed to pre-run the road on race day. So him going up the road, he can measure his tire wear, the pattern that we choose, call down to the start line and put me on the best tire possible.
That's fun. Thanks, you guys. Enjoyed that.
Moving. You're only a couple seconds off Tajima.
Practice for the race takes place over 3 days, and with the course divided into sections, every competitor is given an opportunity to practice each of the 3 stages. Practice beginning each day at sunrise and ending promptly at 9 a.m. when the road is reopened to the public. One of the most challenging aspects competitors face is mastering the cold, early morning road surface temperatures.
First run up the hill, just a warm-up, functions test basically, and everything feels fantastic. We'll wait for the road to warm up a little bit, and we'll push a little harder. Practice day 1 is the middle section. It's 2.2 miles over a course that is called the W's. It's effectively a bunch of hairpins with drag races up to speed somewhere around 130 mile an hour, and then hard braking into another hairpin. End of day 1, wrapping up right now. Really happy overall. I think all 3 of the Unlimited cars, Dollenbach, myself, and Tajima, are within half a second. Practice day 2 is the top section. This is a section that you really have to have confidence in. There's a lot of blind crest, 5th gear flat crests. Last year it was all dirt. This year's new, it's all paved. None of the competitors have seen it at race speeds. I'm going full throttle, waiting for the boost to come on. When the boost actually comes on, it's 0.8 of a second. It's hitting that hard, that fast, that I can't even react to shift fast enough. Being able to carry such amazing speeds over these crests and through these corners, and just trusting the car. It's something I didn't have last year, and we're proving this year that this is the fastest car on the mountain.
The 3rd day of practice would take place on dirt, the most challenging and unpredictable section of the course. Last year, Reese struggled here, and this year he would have to overcome a dry road with extremely limited traction.
Today is the 3rd day of practice, but also considered qualifying based on your fastest run of the runs that you get to run. You know, the road is so much slipperier than was last year. So, you know, it really balances out the overall time. Yesterday we were probably 20 seconds faster than we were last year. Today I'm going to say 20 seconds slower.
With what I saw yesterday, I said to Reese, I said, we got a real race here. And it's great to go do all your practice and find out the limits of the car and everything else, but come race day, you want a good, clean run with no mistakes. No heroics, no mistakes. And I think that guy that puts that together will be the first guy under the 10-minute mark.
Reese Millen would qualify with the second fastest time. Up next, race day at the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb as the world of adventure sports continues.
Welcome to the future.
Last year at the 88th running of the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb, Reese Millen arrived in Colorado with a brand new car and one clear objective: to become the first man in history to break the 10-minute barrier in this race. The car ran beautifully on the pavement sections, but struggled on the dirt. But it all became irrelevant when the elements intervened. Rain near the top of the course, slowing Millen down and leaving him in third place, with Monster Tajima claiming victory. And the 10-minute barrier still intact.
Right now, it is absolutely beautiful. This is what race day is all about here in Southern Colorado at America's Mountain. It is a crystal clear day here for the 89th running of the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb. The crowds have been incredible. I'm looking at picnic grounds, also down at Glen Cove, and the parking lots are absolutely filled, something I haven't seen in quite some time.
The last time Rod Millen raced at Pikes Peak was in 2000. In that race at the halfway point, his time was 15 seconds under his own world record. Unfortunately, he would blow a turbo and never finish what could have been an epic run. Now, 11 years later, Rod returns to the place known to some as Millen's Mountain.
Last year he was kind of stabbing at me like, oh, come on, when men were men, we did it on dirt. This year he's doing it on the pavement, and he's puckering in some spots.
I had such a wonderful time beforehand, and I'm actually surprised this week after 2 days of practice how much fun it still is.
I used to drive for a living up and down these old highways, hauling all my hopes and dreams along with all that freight. Sometimes at night I'd pull her off to the side, sit out on the steps and watch the world roll by.
Absolutely phenomenal driving by Rod Millen, making his way through old familiar territory here on the Pikes Peak International Highway.
The dream rolls on through my life, through my song. Right or wrong, the dream goes on and on.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to announce we've got a new course record for the time attack two-wheel drive class.
11:04 to Jeff's 11:07. What do you get? 11:04 to 11:07.
You know, there's a few marbles all the way up, you know, in this top section here. Nothing like we saw in practice, and they're like black marbles. They might be rubber.
Copy that, copy that. Great, thank you. Congratulations. The Unlimited division is definitely, you know, the iconic division of Pikes Peak. It's the overall win. It's the division you have to enter to go sub 10.
Biggest competition's probably the mountain, because that's what you're racing. You're not racing wheel to wheel with anybody. So beat the mountain first, and that's hard to do.
After last year's third place finish, Reese Millen had his car overhauled in the off-season. Now he's setting his sights on beating Tajima's world record of 10 minutes and 1 second.
You know, one of the biggest challenges about the upper section being paved is the speed that you're carrying around the corners and into the braking zones. You really need to push that limit and maximize that time in those situations.
The ability to just put fear behind, I mean, you hear some of the car drivers say that you wait until you see God until you brake when you're coming up Pikes Peak.
I really feel bad for Reese. Reese drives the hell out of that car. They've worked hard for this mountain, and he's got a braking problem. Hopefully they'll get it figured out.
Reese would lose brake pressure in the high-speed top section of the course. It would cost him approximately 1 second per turn and 18 seconds total, leaving him in second overall with a time of 10 minutes and 9 seconds.
Pedal just kept getting softer and softer until the last two I had nothing. And I was literally using the gears to slow me down. And up here, when you're approaching the corners at 120 mile an hour, you've got to lift way early. It was so frustrating.
Monster Tajima has now set a world record on Pikes Peak in 2011.
Monster Tajima would finish with a time of 9 minutes and 51 seconds, breaking his record at the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb. He became the first driver in history to ascend this great mountain in under 10 minutes. Tajima dedicated the win to his home nation of Japan, asking the world for continued support during difficult times. A message relayed by the words on his winning car. NBC's World of Adventure Sports is brought to you by Teva, helping you live better stories. By Garmin, follow the leader. By Progressive, making it easy to shop for insurance. By Oakley. And by U.S. Bank, all of us serving you, U.S. Bank. So that will wrap up today's show. And as always, we want to thank those athletes who choose to push themselves and their sport to the next level. It's all about progression.
There's nothing like this event. Everybody talks about Indianapolis, but there is no race like this anywhere. And we're proud of it and proud to have it in our backyard.
So from the historic Pikes Peak International Hill Climb at more than 14,000 feet of elevation, I'm Todd Harris. We'll see you next time on the World of Adventure Sports.